Welcome to another episode of GLATA Member Spotlights. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel if you like the content that we're putting out.
Probably like most, athletic trainers. At some time I was an athlete and I had an interaction with an athletic trainer once I was injured. So when I was in high school, and I knew I always wanted to do something medical, and working with an athletic population for, like all of us really, struck a chord with me. I mean, starting from when I was in high school, Tom O'Connell and Colleen Hebrew that were at Glenbrook North High School back in, oh gosh, when was that now? The early 2000s. Um, Big impact on me there, all the way through my collegiate athletic trainers, Julie Rochester at Northern Michigan University, Chris Rowe at Northern Michigan University. Um, still in contact with both of them and I get to talk to them regularly. And then right now, my colleagues are phenomenal. Tony Katsaros at Glenbrook South High School, Tim Mizrak at Glenbrook South High School. I couldn't have any more support. They are there every day with me in the trenches. So, yeah, I mean, you keeping in contact with your role models is phenomenal. Yeah, I think a lot of it is about finding what's right for your life, what feeds your soul, what fills your cup. I, like a lot of athletic trainers, originally went into the profession thinking I wanted to work collegiate setting or a professional setting. And I think I was about 2 weeks into my graduate assistantship when I realized that the collegiate setting is not what I wanted. So I finished out my 2 years of my graduate assistantship and then moved on to a high school. And it just is, it's what filled my soul, right? So listening to that calling, who is the patient population that you feel called to serve? I think has made all the difference in my ability to stay in the profession and not get burned out. I guess honestly, having that recognition moment of deciding that all of what I thought I wanted to do isn't all of what I thought it could be, and choosing a new setting and moving to the secondary school setting, um, and feeling how fulfilling that could be for me is absolutely astounding. And then putting that out into the world, I think like probably tomorrow when I get to speak at GLATA is going to be a huge highlight of my career. Something I never really thought that I would have something to add of value in a conference of this setting, and recognizing that I wrote something and people do want to hear it, right, is a huge professional accomplishment. My high school that I work at for the last several years has done a lot of work around diversity, equity, and inclusion when it comes to our student population. I come from a family. I am a wife of a disabled military veteran. I have two stepdaughters that are real, half Mexican. They identify as Latina. Um, and so recognizing that if I wanted to create a work setting that honored the people in my life that bring me joy and love and care, that I needed to work for those people, right? I want to know that if my stepdaughters choose to enter the world of athletic training, that they are going to be met and welcomed with people that honor their diversity, that honor their identities, not just accept them, right? Not just tolerate them, but believe that who they are has impact. Same with my husband. I mean, I have watched him struggle in his work settings as a disabled veteran, watching people not understand and honor the accommodations that he needs to feel a whole person. Um, and I don't want any athletic trainer to feel that way. I think that our committee has done a really excellent job of making sure that our student voices are being heard. We are in a place now where our students are no longer 18-year-old kids, right? These are young adults that have agency. And so we as a committee have made sure that our student members are voting members of our committee, which is super important, that their voice is being heard, that they're not just being, um, you know, touted along with adults, right? That they have that voice to be heard. We also have done a lot of work around making sure that we have scholarships available for people of diverse backgrounds so that they feel included in the athletic training profession. They have access to the education that our profession requires. I think I think both of those pieces together really helps us lead the way in terms of how committees can be viewed, particularly as our profession grows and evolves and changes. Youth Services of Glenview and Northbrook is a super special organization. I actually started working with the program director there. Her name is Lizzie Appleby. I started working with her when she was at a different nonprofit organization. I have always had a passion for volunteering. I think that I was grappling with kind of understanding. The workshops I teach are mostly centered around sexual health education, which people don't often think overlaps with athletic training, but I think it overlaps a ton with youth development. The workshops I teach have to do with healthy relationships and boundaries, facilitating conversations with young people around how they interact with others in those relationships. And when I first met Lizzie, I had just gone there and I wanted to volunteer. And I said, I'll just come here. I want to volunteer. I've got time on my hands in the morning before I go to work. I was pretty young then, before I had a family and kids. I said, I'll stuff envelopes. I'll do whatever you want me to do. And she's the one who looked at me and said, I think you have a talent to do something else. And I was like, oh my gosh, teach workshops? What are you talking about? And here I am with her almost 9 years later. We moved into that larger space with youth services, and I still teach workshops in the morning before I go to my secondary school job. And again, it's about what fills your cup, right? That brings me joy to teach those workshops and get in there with those kids and work on those healthy relationship skills, right? It's not about it's not about that I need a second job or I need the money. I've now moved on to an employee with them, right? I'm no longer a volunteer, but that I need that to help fulfill my desires to grow and challenge myself. I will say the athletic directors in the conference that I work for, the female athletic directors in the Central Suburban League Conference here in Illinois, just hosted their first Empower Her conference this year, focusing on our young women in sports in the state of Illinois. We had like 700 participants between athletes and coaches from all over the state. They asked me to be a breakout session speaker to talk about sports medicine and being a woman in sports medicine. And I think I'm really finding kind of a passion there about promoting this profession and working in sports as a female. And how you can kind of incorporate that into your life as a whole. Yeah, I think I've come to these conferences for so long, this and NATA and IATA, and I look around and I see these people in green jackets and, that have lots of letters after their names. And I just often wonder, are those the only people that have value in our profession? And so quite honestly, like, the application to speak at this GLATA was due in June, and I had a middle of the night thought when I was pregnant and couldn't sleep, and I shot it off to a couple of people, and I said, "Do you think this could be something? Do you think this could be something I could talk about at GLATA?" And they all said yes. Put in an abstract. See what happens. What's the worst that can happen is you put in an abstract and they reject you. But I put in this abstract and they said yes, and I'm hoping a lot of people come to hear what I, have to share. But I think we're at a point in our profession now where it's not just about hearing from the PhDs and the DATs, but it's about hearing from the people that are on the ground in our trenches, hearing from people that look and sound like us, and practice, in the same way we do every day. think the biggest thing I would say is find the patient population uh, that that brings you the the best joy to serve, right? Whether that's in an industrial setting or a performing arts setting or a youth sports setting or a collegiate sports setting. Who are the people that when you serve and work in those spaces are the people that fill you back up with joy, right? Um, the people that you feel honored to work with, the people that you feel proud to share with. Mine now and is forever more young people, high schoolers, middle schoolers, like that's my jam. I never thought it would be that way. But I don't think that I was really listening at that point in time to who it was that I who it was I was being called to serve. I really hope that we start to see and hear from more voices that are outside of the tradition, right? When we take a look at how athletic training was built and the foundation of athletic training was built, it was built by primarily white men who worked in sports and were on the sidelines. And you can read the history books that people have written about athletic training, and you can see where those foundations came from. But as we have grown, we have to embrace the diversity around us. We have to start hearing from different voices, and we have to start allowing those voices to help us build for the future. We can't just hear those voices, take what they have to say, and hope that we can interpret that in a way that's helpful. We have to take those voices and encourage them to help build, encourage them to lead, encourage them to serve in professional leadership roles, or we're not going to make it, quite honestly. Like, if we don't start listening and hearing those other voices that are going to help us build for the future, we have a good foundation, but building up from there, we can't keep doing the same thing.
If you would like to recommend a colleague or yourself for GLATA member spotlight videos, you can go over to glata.org, look under the Advocacy Committee tab, and click on GLATA AT Spotlight to fill out the form. Until next time, stay great, GLATA.